Here's a Google map of aligning interest. The first point at the beginning of this lesson is to recognize that compensation matters. People respond to incentives. This means that a good compensation scheme rewards good behavior or outcomes. In particular, you should reward X when you desire X. A bad compensation scheme rewards bad behaviors or outcomes, which occur when you reward Y when you desire X. One of the readings I'll have you read is full of examples of where we reward Y when we really want X to occur. A good compensation scheme must balance competing attributes. First, you'd like the employee to understand how his or her actions determine the reward. The plan should be clear and transparent. Lots of complication means that people don't really know what they need to do, what they can do. You want the reward, the process to be simple enough where it actually motivates behavior. And unless they understand how their behavior affects reward, employees have a hard time figuring out what to do. You want the reward to be salient. That means it matters to them. They should care about the reward. Money usually matters, but other things matter as well. Recognition, parking spaces, all of these things might be effective rewards, but make sure the reward is salient. A couple points. Another point is you should reward good activity if the cost of measuring the activity is low. If you want people to show up on time, reward them for showing up on time. One way this means that you must monitor behavior or use spot checks to make sure that the people are doing what you want them to do. On the other hand, you should reward good outcomes if the cost of measuring desired output is low. You may want to, I'll give you an example of the difference. You might reward a salesperson if they contact if they make 10 calls a day. Or you might reward salespeople based on their sales. You can give them a sales commission based on their reward on output, or you could give them some kind of, bonuses or payments for every time they visit someone. In that case, you're rewarding good activity. If you reward good outcome, you've got to be able to measure the output. Most good schemes also allow for some subjective rating of things that are difficult to measure. You don't want to do this too much because otherwise you create an incentive for the employee simply to curry favor with the supervisor or the person who's doing the subjective rating. But you've got to recognize that some things are difficult to measure, and you may want to leave room for that in the process. The main point that I want to stress is you do not want to reward bad behaviors or outcomes. You need to consider what's the effect of the reward structure on consumer experience, on teamwork. Are the actions you're motivating, are the differences in the long run and short run that you need to consider? And finally, are you going to reward or incentivize unethical behavior? Look forward to talking with you. See you next week.